Boom, 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 boom. Now tell me what you gonna do when it ain't nowhere to run. When judgment comes for you. When judgment comes for you. Tell me what you gonna do when it ain't nowhere to hide. When judgment comes for you. 'Cause it's gonna come for you.
Nigga, this for water, easy, see something Charlie. Little boo, but God's got him. And I'm gonna miss everybody out of rolling flows like I ain't looked at a while. Like I'm playing for dust and they play too deep for beachside. Little legs I got too deep. Tell me your feature deceased, would it please? Marry me by my grand way. You can't go follow
God bless you, working on a plan to
Back on Wrestling Network, welcome back to the CrosUp, your weekly look back at the week that was in professional wrestling. This week I'll be running through the results and happenings from Raw on February 2nd to Collision on February the 7th. We'll open with Raw. We open with a very pissed off Braun Breaker. He says he's going to wreck the entire show unless Adam Pearce comes to the ring. He says he's going to wreck Adam Pearce as well for wrecking his Royal Rumble, which was supposed to be his and his to win. The Vision come out to calm things down with Braun, with Paul Heyman taking the microphone away from him. Complains about Pierce some. How could Pierce not know who the masked man is when he has to approve the visas of who goes over for the Raw brand for the Royal Rumble to Saudi Arabia? Breaker wants Pierce out of here, are out here right now. So Pierce comes out. He points out that the last masked man around here was Austin Theory. Braun even gives Theory a look, not really knowing who it possibly could be. Pierce says that Breaker can keep his job, but LA Knight comes up from behind and attacks the entire Vision with the steel chairs. He is able to escape Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker, who had kind of gone after Pierce and the security that was between them. But he kind of chairs down Logan Paul and Austin Theory. But before Reed and Breaker can come back, LA Knight kind of escapes through the crowd. So that kind of wraps up the opening segment. We get a long Rumble recap after that, kind of wrapping up what happened over the weekend. We open with our first contest, which is Javon Evans defeating El Grande Americano when the original El Grande Americano comes out and distracts the 2.0 El Grande, I guess I'll say, long enough for Javon Evans to hit the OG cutter to get the win. We look at some NXT people who made their debuts, also including Royce Keys, who hasn't been brand, his brand hasn't been chosen for him quite yet, but it shows just kind of the new faces that were in the Royal Rumble that aren't on the main roster and stuff like that. So just kind of keeping those people in your mind, as I think most of them are probably either already on the main roster or probably main roster bound sooner rather than later. We then come back to the arena. AJ Styles music hits. Obviously, he's retired now. So it is Gunther coming out to do AJ's pose to his music. It eventually switches to his music. He comes down to the crowd, or comes down to the ring. The crowd is very pissed. He has to kind of wait a little bit before he can say anything because he's getting booed pretty hard. But he says AJ Styles found out what happens when you step into the ring with a career killer. Dragon Lee, who had recently been tag team champions with AJ Styles, comes in and hits an enziguri and a suicide dive to the outside on Gunther. Gunther then gets thrown into the post and drop kicked over the barricade. But as Dragon Lee starts to charge at him again, Gunther has the ring bell and he smacks him as he comes at him with a dive. He then locks in the sleeper until officials come out and break it up. Gunther then gets it again, and he does this cool thing where he is on the apron, but Dragon Lee's kind of feet are hanging down, so it looks like he goes like completely limp at one point. Thought it was a pretty cool spot in the grand scheme of things, and then he just drops Lee to the floor, and he kind of crumples. So I thought that was a pretty interesting and cool spot. So much that AEW does it again in a couple of days. So, but we then go to a recap of the Vision taking out LA Knight, which is why he kind of came back and took them out tonight. It happened about 2 months ago. Paul Heyman comes up to Adam Pearce and requests/demands LA Knight versus Braun Breaker tonight, but Pearce says he can't do it because he was just walked out of the building, talking about Braun Breaker, for disrupting the show. If Heyman knows what's good for him, he'll have LA Knight was kicked out of the building. So, and then he tells Heyman if he knows the same, Breaker will get walked out of the arena as well. Heyman then reminds Pearce that this is Philadelphia. and this is kind of his home arena. But but Pierce then takes off his glasses and says FAFO, and basically implying that Heyman should fuck around and find out, and he'll have to deal with what Pierce can really do. So we then go to commercial, come back, and Braun Breaker is being led out by Paul Heyman. Breaker is still pissed, and Heyman is pretty frazzled because he doesn't really know what to do from here. But we then go back to the arena, and the War Raiders are in the ring, and they seemingly are about to have a tag team match, but Obafemi's music hits. Femi comes out, absolutely wrecks both of them, not having any trouble whatsoever, and leaves them laying. So it's not really a match, but Obafemi gets over pretty big over two kind of larger guys, and looks like even more of an imposing force than maybe he already was to most people. We then get video of Finn Balor, who talks about his respect never being returned around here and always being taken for granted. That was the case during his time in Belfast when he faced CM Punk, and then he didn't even get a chance to be in the Royal Rumble, and he still wants to be world champion, and he's continuing his quest against CM to be the world heavyweight champion. We then get the Bellas come out. They're glad to be back as this is their first time together on Raw in 7 years. Brie is back in the ring, and they have one goal in mind, and that is to be the women's tag team champions. We then get the Alpha Academy in the backstage with Bert Kreischer. Maxine Dupree comes in, so she says next week she's going to make Natalya tap out, and she gets really inspired and gets really fired up and starts screaming and making noises and stuff like that. So this excites all of the men, and they rip their shirts off, as is customary with old Bert Kreischer. We then get Penta. He defeats Bronson Reed via countout when LA Knight comes back into the arena, comes ringside and hits Reed with the BFT onto a chair, and Reed cannot answer the 10 count, so he gets counted out. We then get Dominic Mysterio coming out to announce that he is in fact back in 100%. He introduces Liv Morgan, who won the Royal Rumble, obviously. She jumps into his arms, and they make out for a little bit. The fans then tell Liv that she deserves it, and she says she knows. You are now in the presence of the greatest Royal Rumble winner of all time, and she's not sure who she's facing at WrestleMania yet. She'll even be at SmackDown to find out for sure. The only thing she does know is that we're getting a new women's world champion tonight. So obviously Raquel Rodriguez then comes out. After the big entrance, we get the very important question from Raquel: why did Liv eliminate her in the Royal Rumble? Liv kind of backtracks and says that a win for the Judgment Day is a win for all. She knew that Raquel already had a title match. So obviously now they both have title matches. So so it just seemed kind of fair. Raquel seems to buy it a little bit. And then obviously Liv kind of stays ringside. Raquel asked Liv not to stay ringside. So she leaves with Dom to let Raquel have her match with Stephanie Vaquer for the women's world title. We didn't get that match, and Stephanie Vaquer is able to retain because Liv doesn't listen, comes out, hands Raquel the title, but it ends up kind of blowing up on her, and Stephanie finishes things via pinfall with a corkscrew moonsault. So Stephanie retains, so we'll see where Liv goes from here, if she chooses Stephanie or if she ends up choosing Jade over on SmackDown. And then we get our main event spot, pretty long segment, goes about 25 minutes. Roman Reigns arrives at this point in the show. So he is here in the arena. The fans are happy to see him. He talks about all the things he's done in Philly over the years. I think he says this is where he won his first championship, obviously where he won or where he lost his last championship. He also won the Royal Rumble here. So he talks about how he won it again. The question is, who should he go after? He'd like the fans' input, and they seem pretty hardcorely in the CM Punk camp. Punk then comes out and gets cheered pretty heavily. This makes Reigns take his jacket off, because he thinks things are about to kind of go down a little bit. Punk looks into the camera and threatens Finn Balor, kind of ignores Roman Reigns, which doesn't sit well with Roman. Punk gets down to business, and while he could listen to Drew McIntyre get booed all day, He thinks the fans have made their point clear. At the same time, he thinks Reigns has made his mind up with the easy pick of McIntyre. Reigns calls him Phil. He says McIntyre is a big guy who had Punk crying over a plastic bracelet not too long ago. Punk talks about the beating he gave McIntyre in Hell in a Cell, with Reigns saying that he beat McIntyre for 3 years in a row, constantly. Punk asked how many of Reigns' cousins it took to beat him, but Reigns says his family is the reason CM Punk had a place to come back to in the first place. Punk says that doesn't work for him, who brings up Reigns manipulating a bunch of people, including saying that his vacations are just letting other people get a chance, instead of just hogging the spotlight like he always does. No one is trying to follow in his footsteps. A long time ago, Punk was champion for 434 days with Paul Heyman by his side. It was Reigns who followed in Punk's footsteps, and just because Reigns did it longer doesn't mean he did it better. Punk chooses to go to so many different countries, just like he chose to bring the Shield to the main roster. Reigns is choosing right because he knows he can beat McIntyre, but he can't beat Punk on his best day. Maybe Reigns wants to take the easy way, but he can also take door number 2 and climb Mount Everest on his own. Reigns says Punk is making all these towns because he took a 10-year vacation. The idea that Reigns learned from Punk is laughable because the only thing he learned from Phil is what not to do. When Punk wanted to come back, who do you think they came to ask if it was a good idea for him to come back or not? He got signed back because Reigns signed off on him. And then Punk went on his best friend's podcast and ran his mouth to make his life even harder. Then Punk came back, stole his wise man, and tried to make him look like a young boy at War Games. He is picking Punk not because he's the best in the world, or not because he doesn't think he can beat him or anything like that. He is picking Punk because he hates him, and he's always hated him. And at WrestleMania, Punk will acknowledge Roman Reigns. So, really long segment, really awesome segment. Kind of made up for a crappy Raw, I'll say. Vicarian Rodriguez's best match for me, just to go ahead and get into that. But this is almost one where I almost want to throw like best segment in there, because this one was really good. It kind of really, I'm still not super excited for the match, but if there was a way I was going to get excited into it, it was adding this personalness and all these, all this back and forth that they had. So I thought it was a really well done segment. But yeah, great ending to Raw. Raw overall was kind of crappy, so I wouldn't go out of my way to watch too much. But that street fight between Raquel and Stephanie was pretty good. We're going to move on to NXT. We open with Shawn Michaels announcing that Robert Stone is going to be the new interim NXT general manager, since obviously in the news the previous week, I think this came out maybe after I recorded last week, but Ava has stepped down. She is, I don't think she asked for her release, but she didn't re-sign an extension on her contract or anything like that. So Ava Reigns' rule at the top is now gone. Can't say I'm too sad that she's not there anymore. Wasn't the most interesting character in the grand scheme of things. So hopefully Robert's interim title doesn't last all that long and they find somebody else to kind of fill that spot, because he's kind of been played in and out of that role for years at this point as well. So we'll see what happens, but hopefully we get an official GM before too long. We go to an opening video. It looks at the history of the NXT Championship, what it can mean to someone's career, both in NXT and beyond on the main roster. Tonight, we will add another name to the lineage as we have a 7-way ladder match to name the new NXT champion. We open with Izzy Dame retaining her Women's North American Championship against Thea Hale and Lola Vice, when Vice gets taken out by Kalani Jordan, who interferes, and Izzy Dame finishes Thea off with her Dame over sit-out powerbomb. So pretty solid match between the three girls, but obviously Izzy retains, so no new champion there. We go to the back. Kendall Gray and Ren Sinclair praise Sol Ruca for her Royal Rumble performance. Zarya comes in and interrupts. She's There's still some tension between the two of them. Zarya wasn't told that Soul was going to be in the Royal Rumble. And she seems kind of pissed about it. She says she needs to win these the Knockouts Tag Team Championships tonight, but not for the both of them, but for herself, because she needs to feel that she is accomplishing something. And obviously, because obviously Soul's had a lot of accomplishments over the last year and stuff like that. So Zarya wants to feel like she's pulling her into the team, but she also wants some accolades for herself. We then go to earlier today. Chase U was complaining about not getting opportunities, but Ariana Grace, Stax, and Lexis King interrupt to mock them. And a match is set for tonight between Chase U and this seemingly new budding faction that we have with Stax, Lexis King, and Ariana Grace. We then get Tony D'Angelo coming out to the ring for his big promo explaining why he's been doing what he's been doing lately and what he's doing back in NXT. He hasn't been here for 7 months, so he could explain the 2 reasons he left, call it a day, but he has a lot to say. He talks about the things he's done here, and about a year ago, he was a happy man with his family around him. Then that was taken from him, and it meant he needed to learn how to stand on his own. Dark State ruined his life, and now he needs to remember who he is. Then he came back and had people wondering what he was doing. He's coming for Dark State, and it's about punishment. Because he's going to take everything from them like they took from him. He came back for 2 reasons. That was one, and he says the second one we'll find out when he's done with Dark State. So he's going to get after Dark State first, and obviously we'll see if he has championship aspirations going forward, but Dark State is his immediate goal in future. We then go to Shiloh Hill. He runs down the competitors in the ladder match tonight that he'll be facing, kind of gives some his opinions of each competitor and stuff like that, kind of some of their accolades. So kind of just gives you a view of not only himself, but who he's going up against later tonight. We then get informed that there's going to be a new tournament to name a Speed Championship #1 contender. We get a promo from Jasper Troy. He says he doesn't care who he faces next for the Speed title because he is destruction and punishment, and he's going to deliver that on whoever he faces next. We then get the first Speed tournament match where Elio LaFleur defeats Charlie Dempsey via pinfall, following a reverse head scissors driver. This obviously advances him to the finals of the Speed title tournament. We may get another match to see who his finalist competitor is later. We get Joe Hendry. He's not going to let bruised ribs stop him from winning the NXT championship. He hasn't had a title in 7 months, and it's time for him to accomplish his goals around here. We again see the package for the NXT stars, both past and present, in the Royal Rumble, kind of trying to continue to hype up the NXT brand. We then get the Elegance brand retaining their TNA Knockouts tag team titles against Zaruka when Soul accidentally hits the Soul Snatcher on Zarya, and then M by Elegance holds Zarya in place for Heather to hit a top rope double foot stomp to retain their championships. We then get Ethan Page. He talks to the Vanity Project, telling Jackson Drake to finish the job and become NXT champion later tonight. We go to before the show. We're kind of out amidst the crowd. I think Jada Parker was kind of around, and maybe it was working one of the merch little trailers that they have. But Blake Monroe attacks her out there in a parking lot, kind of in front of fans. So the parking lot continues to be a dangerous place. We then get Stax and Lexis King. They defeat Chase U when King hits the coronation on Dixon. After the match, Uriah Connors kind of checks on his partner, but then he decides to walk away, seemingly walking out on Chase U. So we'll see if Uriah Connors eventually joins with Team Nepo going forward, because obviously, again, he's the son of Fit Finley. So we'll see if the Nepo group continues to grow. We then get Fatal Influence. So they come out to the ring for a promo. JC Jane talks about killing it at the Royal Rumble, and then Sol Ruka snuck up on her and eliminated her. JC complains about Ruka going viral all the time, so it's time for her to kill the hype. Zarya then comes out to say that Ruka has all kinds of opportunities handed to her, so it's time for Zarya to make her own chance. JC Jane kind of laughs her off, saying everyone loves Sol, but they just kind of tolerate Zarya. Kendall Gray and Sinclair then come out. Gray says she knows that she can beat JC Jane as she would have previously if not for the rest of Fatal Influence. They argue over who should get the shot. So here is Sol Ruca to kind of simmer things down. She accuses Zarya of sneaking around on her. Zarya gets on her for going to the Rumble on her own without telling her. We then get Robert Stone coming out, and he makes a tag team match between Zaruka and Ren Sinclair and Kendall Gray next week. But whoever gets the pin gets the next title shot. So it's going to be that classic kind of, partners kind of fighting each other while they're also trying to win the match together. On next week's show. So we'll see how that kind of works out. Obviously, I feel like one of the Zarya Sol Ruca parts of that team are probably going to win, but it's probably going to be a little controversial. We then go to Kalani Jordan. She says earlier she broke Lola Vice's hand, and she did so she can no longer knock anyone out, because obviously Lola's big move is the spinning back fist. We then go to Alexis King, and like I said, Team Nepo. They have Uriah Connors with them now. They interrupt Charlie Dempsey talking to Ren and Kendall, and they seem to offer him a spot on the team, but we don't quite get to see if Charlie answered yes or no, because it kind of cuts to the final match, which is our NXT title match, and Joe Hendry wins the 7-way ladder match to become the NXT champion. So he, it was a really awesome match of the night for sure. Best match for me. Obviously got some new stars in there. Got Keanu Carver in there, Jackson Drake, Sean Legacy showed what they can do. But yeah, just a really top to bottom awesome match. You would have thought maybe coming in that they would go with the heel and maybe have the face of Joe Hendry or, one of the other faces kind of chase Ricky Saints going forward. But Hendry ascends the ladder at the end, pushes Ricky Saints off through on one of the bridge ladders and grabs the title down. So obviously Saints seems like the general direction going forward, but we'll see if they build up another star and another heel to kind of go after Hendry going forward as we go to Stand and Deliver and Vengeance Day and all that stuff. So, but the ladder match was incredible. Definitely check it out. If you hadn't watched NXT this week, definitely at least watch that main event. So really good stuff. We'll go from there to Dynamite real quick, or we'll go to Dynamite. We open with kind of the, rapid fire promos, kind of old school style. We hear from MJF, Brody King, Kenny Omega, Don Callis, the Babes of Wrath, Penelope Ford, and Megan Bayne, who are all ready for their individual matches tonight, and kind of, give their opinions on how they think things are going to go. So we then go to our first match. It is going to be the Don Callis family of Josh Alexander, Konosuke Takeshita, and El Clon defeating the Death Riders of John Moxley, Pac, and Daniel Garcia when Takeshita wins the match for his team with the Raging Fire on Daniel Garcia. We then go to Swerve Strickland. He does not want to talk about his loss from last week to Andrade, but Prince Nana, he has like an old embassy towel in tow and says that they aren't going anywhere and they will be in the title picture going forward, and one loss isn't going to hold him back. We then get video on Will Ospreay, who says he's working on coming back. He doesn't quite say when or where, but obviously this is implying that he's closer to being back than maybe not. We then go to Orange Cassidy and Tony Storm. They defeat Jordan Oasis and Brittany Brooks when Cassidy hits the orange punch on Oasis and gets the win. After the match, Cassidy and Storm aren't sure if it's a good idea that they kind of laid out a hair versus hair match, because they both look so great with their hair that they have. But it's okay. And either Cassidy is giving Yuta a makeover, or Marina is going to look more like John Moxley than herself going forward. So just a little comedy segment to kind of get their motivations out there and stuff. We then get Darby Allin. He's obviously skateboarding into the show as per usual, but he gets attacked by the War Dogs, which is Clark Connors and Gabe Kidd. I think it's more than them two, but they're kind of a split off part of the Bullet Club. They're kind of like a little side faction, but they are in the War Dogs, and they attack Darby Allin. They throw him in the trunk of a car and drive away. We then come back to the arena, and Hangman Page defeats Martin Davis via pinfall following a buckshot lariat. After the match, Page says he hopes to face Kenny Omega, but he's coming for MJF, and it doesn't care who he has to go through to get the world title shot at Revolution. We then get a video on Kevin Knight, kind of hyping him up and him being a new star and him having some success in the Continental Classic over the last few months. So just kind of to hype him up a little bit. We then get Andrade scoring another kind of upset win when he defeats Kenny Omega. It kind of seemed like Kenny Omega was headed for the world title, but obviously he gets cut off with a pass here. Andrade wins when Swerve comes out and takes the screwdriver that Don Callis had thrown Andrade away. But this distracts the ref as Swerve is kind of ringside, and this allows Andrade to hit a low blow and then hit the DM and get the win over Kenny Omega. And then after the match, Swerve and Omega have to kind of be held apart afterwards, and we're kind of getting into a shoving match. So kind of a swerve, no pun intended, but kind of a swerve here. Would have thought Omega would be the one to go after MJF in the title, as it kind of seemed like was what they were building to. But Swerve versus Omega is not a match that I'm going to cry about either, because I think it'll be a banger when they get off with each other. And obviously they're trying to push Andrade. Obviously, with him flip-flopping companies, he's obviously gotten a reputation over the years of all that kind of stuff. But they're obviously trying to push him. I don't see him ending up facing, MJF, but they've done weirder things. But I don't think they're going to go heel versus heel. So obviously, this kind of lets us know that Hangman's probably going to be the title challenger at Revolution. But again, they've pulled kind of two swerves already on us, so we'll see. We then go to a video of Brody King, obviously hyping him up for the main event later tonight when he faces MJF to get the title shot at Grand Slam next week. We then get Chris Statlander. She says she gets to pick the stipulation for her rematch against Tekla next week, but she says she'll do so on Collision. So just kind of a hype, just a kind of a little bit of hype for that match to kind of cuck you there at the end. So we then get Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford. They defeat the Babes of Wrath in a non-title match when they hit the Doomsday Device on Harley Cameron. This obviously earns them a future tag team title match. Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford continue to pick up wins, obviously this time over the champs. So we'll see what happens when they finally face each other for the titles. We then get video of Tommaso Ciampa winning the TNT title from Mark Briscoe. Ciampa issues an open challenge for Collision. And he has dubbed, instead of his championship being Goldie like it was in NXT, he has dubbed the TNT championship Sylvie. So he will be calling it Sylvie going forward. We then get a national championship match. Ricochet is able to retain against Jack Perry via pinfall when the Gates of Agony and the Young Bucks battle on the outside. And this allows Ricochet to use the national title to his advantage and finish things off with a Vertigo driver. So obviously it doesn't seem to be the end of that rivalry, and we'll probably see another match between Jack and Ricochet. We then get the War Dogs. They have taken over the production truck and make us watch them dragging Darby Allin behind their car in the desert. So another thing that just a destructive thing that somebody's done to Darby Allin. But like Gabe Kidd said last week, he's not gonna rest until Darby Allin is done for permanently. So. And then we go to our main event where Brody King quickly squashes MJF when Max was distracted by Hangman coming out to watch the match. Brody King quickly takes advantage. He chokes MJF. He kind of hangs him over the apron, kind of like I said that they did on Raw. And his body goes completely limp. MJF kind of drops to the floor. So Brody King gets him back in the ring, hits a cannonball splash in the corner, and then hits a Gonzo bomb, and he gets the win. So he will face Max for the title at Grand Slam Australia. After the match, Andrade comes out because he's obviously somewhat in title contention now too. All he has to do is beat Hangman. But Hangman takes Andrade out. MJF kicks Hangman low, so he kind of rolls out of the ring, and Brody King hits another Gonzo bomb to end the show. So Brody King stands tall at the end of the show with the title. I thought Andrade versus Omega was the best match of the show, kind of got the most time. I thought the angle at the end was really well done. It makes Brody look like a badass, just completely dominating MJF. MJF kind of looks foolish, but he's been known to kind of just get distracted in those kind of situations, and he'll obviously have a better showing next week when they face each other. But I thought that angle was really well done at the end of the show, really propping up Brody as a credible kind of world title contender. But I thought Andrade and Omega, as far as matches, was the best match. And we will go from there to Impact. We open Impact with Trey Miguel defeating Adam Brooks via pinfall following the Lightning Spiral. After the match, Stax, the international champion, runs down and beats down Miguel and hits him in the face with his international championship. Obviously, Trey Miguel has the briefcase for the international title shot, so obviously, I think they're going to be facing each other going forward. We then get Lei Ying Lee, Zaya Brookside, and Indy Hartwell. They are ready to take out the Elegance brand later tonight in a six woman tag. We then get the Righteous. They quickly squash Tommy Two Scoops and TW3 with an assisted cutter on TW3. After the match, the Righteous say they want to team with the Hardys instead of fighting against them. The Hardys aren't sure. That we then cut to the Hardys in the back. They aren't sure about this, but the system come in and beat them down, give them a pretty good beating. We then have Frankie Kazarian. He's starting to head to the ring. He shakes hands with Daria Ray. He comes out to the stage. He says he can't stand Mike Santana walking around with his title. Kazarian blames a hand injury that he came into their match with. Daria Ray understands his issues, though, and there is not a man in this city who can take him out. Elijah then comes out for his match next. I kind of just walks past Kazarian to go to the ring for his match. And obviously Kazarian doesn't take this too well, but he doesn't do anything, but he just kind of glares at him and is like, "Oh, is that how little you think of me?" Stuff like that. So, but then we get the match that was previously mentioned. We get Order 4 of Mustafa Ali and Tasha Steelz. They defeat Elijah and Jada Stone when Ali hits Elijah's finisher on Jada Stone and allows Steelz to get the pin to get the win. We then get Ariana Grace. She appeals to Santino Marella and wants a title match just to show what she can do, and Santino agrees to her asking of this. We then get Daria Ray. She announces some matches for the No Surrender show coming up. Stax defending the international title against Trey Miguel, so Trey Miguel is cashing in his briefcase. We are then going to get the Hardys and the Righteous taking on all four members of Order 4. And we are going to get Mike Santana and Leon Slater teaming up to take on Nick Nemeth and Eddie Edwards. So the other team, the heel team in this, has the Call Your Shot Gauntlet trophy and the briefcase from the Feast or Fired. So we'll see probably a couple of cash-in attempts on that. So that makes things a little interesting. Santino Marella then comes in to say that Ariana Grace will get a knockout title shot, but Daria seems annoyed by this. And she is also annoyed that Marella has allowed Steve Macklin back in the building. Macklin is upset because of what this place meant to him. Obviously, he got the pink slip in the Feast or Fired. He's glad that he's leaving with his head held high. Mike Santana then stops him from leaving, saying that Macklin always believed in him and he appreciates him. They shake hands, but then Macklin attacks him from behind. And then we get security to break it up, and they throw Macklin out of the building. So obviously Macklin seems to not be done. We'll see how he kind of works his way back in, but it seems like he's probably going over after Santana in kind of a desperation move. We then get Tessa Blanchard defeating Rachel Lee via pinfall following the Buzzsaw DDT. We then get Ryan Nemeth and Mara Sade at a football stadium where Mara Sade does the classic Mr. Perfect thing where she throws the football, throws a long pass and runs and catches it herself. They then go to throw darts where Nemeth accidentally gets stabbed with a dart. They then go to play basketball. And before they can even really start, Sade hits him with a super kick and kind of walks away. We then go to Eric Young. He offers BDE a change to join him in the cleanse, but BDE doesn't seem interested, and Eric says he's going to live to regret that. We then get the Angel Warriors of Lei Ying Lee and Zaya Brookside, as well as their partner Indy Hartwell. They defeat the Elegance brand when some chaos is kind of happening around the ring, and it allows Brookside to roll up Heather for the win. And then after the match, the heels attack the faces and end up standing tall. And then we close the show with Mike Santana. He comes out to cut a promo. He talks about sitting in the ring. And talking about what it means to be a champion. The title made one of his former friends turn on him earlier tonight. And then here comes the system before he can go too much further, and they jump Santana. The Hardys then come and make the save, and Moose, who was recently kicked out of the system, comes out and joins, and Clean's House and the Faces stand tall in the ring to end the show. Really not a lot of wrestling on this one, not a lot of long matches or anything like that. Um, some kind of just squashes to put over some talent that kind of needs some wins. But that main event tag of the 6-woman tag would probably be my pick for best match. But um, not the greatest wrestling show. A lot of promos and stuff like that, kind of establishing some new stories and stuff like that. So, but as far as best match, I would have to go with that 6-woman tag. But I wouldn't say you have to go out of your way to watch that one. But if you want to watch something from Impact, that would be it. We'll then go to SmackDown. We open with another long Royal Rumble recap, kind of the same one that happened on Raw. We then get Drew McIntyre to get things going, but Cody Rhodes comes out and jumps him on his way to the ring. Security breaks it up. Rhodes jumps in the ring saying things will never be the same around here. For the first time in history, Rhodes can't fairly point to the sign and know that he's going to WrestleMania to be in the title match. When people talk about WrestleMania, Cody Rhodes is the first name that they say because they know what it means to him. He was born in this city. They're in Charlotte, North Carolina. He says he was born in the city with pizza boxes everywhere and Arn Anderson and Manny Fernandez fighting in the waiting room. Drew McIntyre was jealous that Rhodes got the title instead of him, and now McIntyre isn't going to be champion all the way to WrestleMania. So, uh, kind of threatening that he's going to beat him for the championship before WrestleMania gets there. But if he is going to be champion of WrestleMania, Cody's going to be in his way of coming out of it with the championship. He also mentions, the Reigns and Punk conversation kind of being a dick measuring contest. He doesn't say that obviously, but um, he implies that that's what it was on Raw earlier in the week, and he kind of talks about his dick being big. They don't call him Cody Raheem Rhodes for no reason, so kind of got some you know subtle shots in there from the Raw segment, and kind of pumped himself up at the same time. We then go to Julia and Kiana James. They are ready to win the women's tag team titles tonight. Obviously, they won a title shot last week, so they get the shot against Rhea and Io Sky tonight. We then get Nick Aldis. He tells Cody Rhodes to cool it, or he's out of his Elimination Chamber qualifying match next week. So Cody basically leaves. Cody Rhodes leaves the arena, but he isn't happy about having being kicked out. Obviously, we then get Io and Rhea defeating Julia and Kiana James when they hit Riptide and over the moonsault on Julia. So maybe not my favorite booking decision there, because you pin the United States champion instead of pinning the other person that's kind of the person that usually takes the pinfalls for that team. But I think they're trying to put over how dominant of a team Io and Rhea are. But I would have probably had them pin Kiana in that situation, but that's just me. We then go to the back, and Miz and Ilya Dragunov argue over who should get the next U.S. title shot against Carmelo. Carmelo comes in and says Dragunov gets the shot. Will get the shot at some point, but tonight he needs to get revenge on Miz for kind of fucking up his situation over the last couple of weeks. We then get that match. Carmelo Hayes defeats the Miz via pinfall when he hits the first 48. Tiffany Stratton now kind of announces that she's back. Obviously, she came back at the Rumble. She's ready to kind of begin the journey back to her championship. But Chelsea Green interrupts, saying that she's the news around here, even has little pieces of paper talking about how great and awesome she is and how she was screwed at the Rumble. Stratton then says that Green will only be in the obituary section of the paper after tonight, after she gets done with her, as they are in the same Elimination Chamber qualifying match later on tonight. We then get a promo from Uncle Howdy. He is not okay with Solo Sikoa walking around with his lantern, or the Wyatt Six's lantern, and thinks that him being so cocky and his pride will be his downfall eventually, and they're going to take the lantern back. We then get Tiffany Stratton. She qualifies for the Elimination Chamber, defeating Lash Legend and Chelsea Green when she hits Chelsea with the PME. We then go to Randy Orton. He talks about how he's going to win tonight and move on to his 10th Elimination Chamber match, which obviously gives him the most experience of anybody that could possibly qualify. Aleister Black, who's in his qualifying match later on, does not appear to be too convinced that Randy's going to be able to do so. We then go to Kit Wilson. He's in the ring. He was disgusted by the sweating and grunting at the Royal Rumble, as toxic masculinity was awful and was rampant in the Royal Rumble. They can't handle a man who moisturizes and listens, or who can move his hips like this. He says anyone who is in the Rumble can come out here now and face him. Obviously, Obafemi, being the dominant force that he is, comes out, destroys Kit Wilson in about 30 seconds, finishing him off with the fall from grace powerbomb. So obviously Femi kind of squashed a tag team. They didn't really have a match, but he kind of squashed him pretty quickly. And obviously he does the same thing here to Kit. As soon as Kit comes out, starts talking, you kind of knew he was in a bad situation. We cut back quickly to R-Truth. He is impressed with Obafemi, but Damian Priest doesn't want to hear it. Drew McIntyre then comes in and walks and bumps R-Truth. But Priest says he doesn't want to get into this with him right now. Obviously, they've had problems in the past. Priest says McIntyre doesn't want any part of him and to just walk away because things could get bad if McIntyre wants to fight. McIntyre then comes out to try to cut a promo again, but this time he's jumped by Jacob Fatu. He jumps him from behind, and McIntyre gets knocked out over the barricade and then runs away as security kind of holds Fatu back. We come back from a commercial break, and Nick Aldis tells Fatu to leave the arena as well, or his qualification for the chamber next week will also be banned. And Fatu says, Fatu seems kind of pissed as well, but says he'll leave, and nobody's going to stop him from getting after Drew in this championship. We then get Tama Tonga. He defeats Shinsuke Nakamura via pinfall following a cutthroat. So they kind of obviously they had the confrontation last week, and Shinsuke kind of called him out, and so Tama emerges here victorious. We then get Fraxium and the Motor City Machine Guns. They run into Candice LeRae and a very out of it Johnny Gargano. He's laying face down on like one of those equipment crates. It actually is labeled with an NXT on the corner, so I don't know if that's like subtle foreshadowing or anything like that, but he seems very depressed. Obviously, he lost Axiom's mask last week, and he's obviously lost Tommaso over the last month or so. Candice tries to get any of them to help Johnny get out of this, malaise that he's in, but the Guns won't talk to him because they don't like being lied to like they were months ago when they were fighting over the tag team titles. We then go to Rhea and Io Sky. They are ready to keep their tag team titles, but are also ready to qualify for the Elimination Chamber. Nia Jax and Lash Legend come in to talk some trash and obviously tease that they're going to challenge them for the tag team titles eventually. The Judgment Day girls then come in and get between the two teams, and they're headed to the ring next to do what they're going to do. But before we get to that, Kit Wilson runs into Matt Cardona backstage and blames him for bringing back the toxic masculinity. Cardona is ready to fight anytime Kit Wilson wants to, but Kit Wilson says he needs a warm bath right now, so he walks away. And Apollo Crews was actually talking to Matt Cardona in this, and Apollo thought this whole thing was pretty funny. So a random Apollo Crews sighting, as he has not been on TV in months and months. So probably doesn't go too well for Matt Cardona either, that's who he's talking to and buddying up with. So, but yeah, pretty funny segment. Kit's been a pretty good comedy character over the last few weeks. I don't think he's ever going to, really achieve much, but he is a funny and kind of entertaining part of TV, or SmackDown at least every week. We then go to Nick Aldis in the ring. He brings out Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan brought Raquel with her. Liv Morgan brags about being really great at the Royal Rumble, as well as the hottest, smartest, funniest, most charismatic, most talented, and most iconic woman in WWE history. Morgan has a decision to make between Jade Cargill and Stephanie Vaquer. Jade then comes out saying she'll beat up Liv if given the chance. Cargill doesn't like Raquel Rodriguez looking at her the way that she's looking at her. Liv threatens to have Raquel take the title from her. Jordan Grayson comes out and says she might take the title as well before WrestleMania. That has Liv laughing, but Cargill and Grace both cut her off. Aldis says if Morgan is here to talk, she can also fight, so a tag team match is set up and made for next. The ragtag team of Jordan Grace and Jade Cargill then defeat the Judgment Girls when Jordan kind of runs Raquel into Jade on the apron and gets her with a surprise roll-up victory. So Jordan gets a big win here over the Judgment Day girls, and obviously continues to set up, I assume, an Elimination Chamber title match between Jordan and Jade. Maybe we'll hear about that later on in the show, but that's kind of where I thought it was going. But I think we'll hear from Aldis later on in this episode of SmackDown. But we then go to, they kind of recap Sami Zayn failing to win the WWE Championship at Royal Rumble. He's kind of depressed backstage. He runs into Rey Fenix. He tries to inspire him, tries to kind of hype him up, saying he got to that opportunity and he could do it again. Trick Williams then comes in to mock Sami Zayn, but Phoenix tells Trick to shut up or he will get his teeth knocked down his throat. So obviously continuing kind of the Phoenix Trick rivalry, and obviously maybe setting up Zayn and Trick to kind of go forward into a little bit of a rivalry as well. So continuing to push Trick, showing that he's a guy that's going to be somebody to deal with going forward. We then go to the back. Jordan Grace and Jade Cargill are arguing, and Nick Aldis comes in and makes their title match for next week. So next week on SmackDown, Jordan Grace and Jade Cargill will be facing each other. We then look back at Roman Reigns versus CM Punk, their segment from Raw, setting up their title match at WrestleMania. This brings out Drew McIntyre for a third time, and he gets on the announcer's table. Nobody to attack him this time. He says he has something to say. He's going to say it. First of all, Cody Rhodes and Jacob Fatu should be banned from Elimination Chamber and their qualifying matches after attacking him. He says Sami Zayn got crushed, just like everyone who is going to come after him for his championship. As for what he heard on Raw between Reigns and Punk, he was just disappointed. It came off as two people being insecure, as one of them would mock him, but the other one would defend him. The SmackDown roster should see this as a declaration of war. McIntyre didn't walk away when the world shut down, and he made this title what it is today. He's just like Hogan, Austin, and then he throws in the shot of not Dusty Rhodes, but Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and many more great champions before him. McIntyre gets why Reigns picked Punk, because it was either facing a Scottish warrior or a tattooed freak who is one loss or one injury away from completely losing his career. That leaves the entire roster fighting to get his title shot. He kind of, the music kind of starts playing, but he wasn't quite done. And he kind of starts to walk away, and Trick Williams comes out and says he's going to watch the main event and get ready to take the title from Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania. So Trick making his intentions clear that he is going to be in one of these Elimination Chamber qualifiers, and he is coming for Drew. Drew doesn't seem to be too impressed by Trick, and then we kind of set up the main event. But before we do that, we go to Solo Sikoa, and he is ready to win the qualification match next, but he can't seem to find his MFTs. So they've kind of disappeared on him, whether that's because they're doing their own business now or if the Wyatt Six have anything to do with that. So, but we get our qualification match to end the show. Randy Orton defeats Solo Sikoa and Aleister Black when Randy hits the RKO on Solo. But I thought, as far as best match on SmackDown, I would go with the women's tag opener. Obviously, Carmelo just kind of faced The Miz this week, so not too exciting in the U.S. Open Challenge area tonight. But Rhea and Io versus Julia and Kiana was a solid match, so definitely check that one out. And the two chamber qualifiers were pretty good as well, but I would just go with that opener a little higher than the other two. And then we'll go to Collision to finish the week. The Young Bucks open the show defeating the Gates of Agony when they hit the TK driver on Bishop Khan. After the match, FTR and Stokely Hathaway pop up on the screen. Hathaway can't believe that in the year of our Lord, Beyonce Knowles, the Elite still wants to hold all of the gold like it was the good old days. Dax Harwood then says that's the problem with the good old days. They're not here anymore, unlike FTR, who are the top guys, and they are out. We then get video on our triple threat TNT title match tonight between Roddy Strong, Claudio Castagnoli, and Tommaso Ciampa. We then get a Brody King promo. He talks about being ready to win the world title next week, and obviously has a lot of confidence heading into his match with MJF. Chris Statlander Then comes out to announce the stipulation for her rematch against Tekla. Tekla comes out, though, and spears her down. And the Triangle of Madness holds Statlander to the mat. Tekla whips her with the belt and promises to make things toxic no matter what. The villains go to leave, but Statlander calls Tekla a stupid bitch and makes the match a strap match. So obviously, that's why they pushed it off. They wanted to do this little angle to set up her wanting to beat the crap out of Tekla with a strap because she did the same to her. We then go to Kyle Fletcher. He wants his TNT championship back, and Kazuchika Okada comes in to give him a quick pep talk. Being a champion himself, he says he can get back to it. He just needs to focus, and obviously he's been a champion before, so he can do it again. We then go to Kevin Knight. He defeats Scorpio Sky via pinfall following a UFO splash. We then go to Hook with the rest of the ops, or obviously it's just him and Shibata at this point, but because Hobbs is gone, and they announce here that Samoa Joe is out injured. So for the time being, Hook is the captain of the ops. So like I said, it's just him and Shibata, but he's kind of declaring that he's the leader now. We then get Mina Shirakawa. She defeats Viva Van via submission with a figure 4. We then get the Death Riders of Wheeler Yuta and Marina Shafir defeating Skyflight of Dante Martin and Zeta Steel. When Shafir finishes Steel with Mother's Milk. After the match, the Death Riders go to cut Zeta Steel's hair, but Tony Storm and Orange Cassidy comes out and run them off. We then go to a bar and we see a man hit on Alex Windsor and Jamie Hayter. And he obviously gets beat down, and they dub themselves the Brawling Birds going forward. So I don't really know what that I mean, obviously they're brawlers, but I don't know what the birds particularly means within that. So, but we'll probably learn more about that. But that's what their new kind of team name is going to be. We go to After Dynamite. MJF is going absolutely nuts. He rants about all the people coming for his title, which he knows that he can keep, and that he will keep. He is at his most dangerous when his back is against the wall, and that will be the case next week in Australia. We then get Tekla in a match. She defeats Brittany Brooks via pinfall following a spear. After the match, Tekla whips Brooke with the strap, and no one comes to save her. We then get video on Jon Moxley versus Konosuke Takeshita that will happen next week in Australia for the Continental Championship. We then go to our parking lot brawl where the face team of Ortiz, Eddie Kingston, Zachary Wentz, and Desmond Xavier defeat the Grizzled Young Veterans, Big Bill, and Brian Keith when Kingston hits a DDT on Gibson on top of a car to finish things off. We then go to Roderick Strong. He says he needs to change things around here, but Mark Briscoe interrupts. Briscoe thinks Strong has what it takes to win the title tonight, but he wants a title shot against whoever the winner is. Roddy Strong appreciates Briscoe's words, but he continues to let us know that he is not in the conglomeration. We then go to our main event where Tommaso Ciampa defeats Roddy Strong and Claudio Castagnoli when he absolutely drills with Roddy Strong with a running pump knee to kind of knock him out and get the pinfall. After the match, Kyle Fletcher comes out to hold the title, which he eventually hands back to Ciampa. Fletcher asks how it feels to know that Ciampa will never fill Kyle Fletcher's shoes as TNT champion. He says he wants the title match next week, and it seems to be set as Tommaso again kisses him on the cheek to kind of end the show. So Tommaso versus Fletcher is a match that I definitely want to see, and I'm looking very forward to when we get to that in Australia. But last match was the best match without a doubt. A lot of kind of I thought the parking lot brawl was good, but it was kind of a lot of just weapon shots and people getting thrown into cars and stuff like that. So not too exciting. The opener tag match is pretty good as well, but they really brought the heat with that event. So definitely check that one out between those three guys. But thank you as always for joining me, and we will see you next time.